Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Smart Girl Podcast, where we keep it real about health, lifestyle, and everything in between from an urban millennial perspective. On today's episode, my guest and I are reflecting on the pandemic and how life has been since then, ever since January 2020. I feel like our world has shifted and it's just we're here. We're stuck here. So, as millennials, we are talking about all the things as it pertains to reflecting on the pandemic. So, I have Mr. and Mrs. Wright. Julian is not a stranger to the podcast. He's been on before. Mind you, the episode that he was on got over 100 views, everybody. So, I appreciate you, Julian, for being on that episode about millennials and the black church and everything. Over 100 views. So, shout out to you, sir. And then we have a newcomer today. We have Coach Marcus in the building, representing Brotherhood Elite, a nonprofit AAU organization. Y'all, Marcus has all the energy, y'all. Like he's a vibe by himself. He is a vibe. So I'm ready to get into this conversation, guys. All right, so a background. COVID-19, coronavirus, all the different names that we have heard. So everything really kicked off, I'll say. I think in 2020, January 2020, we first heard that it was over in China, and then by different ways, it got over here to our country, and then it spread. And then things went from bad to worse very, very quick, almost overnight. So they said that it was approximately over 1 million people who died from coronavirus in this country. And so I just wanted to kind of reflect, as like I said, as we are millennials, on that whole situation. So my first question, you all, is how did the pandemic change your perspective on life? So when we were living on lockdown, as I'll say, when everybody had to stay in the house. How was that for you? I remember I think they gave us like checks, sent everybody a check or something to stay, like $1,200 or something for us to stay in the house. So how did it change your perspective on life when all of that was first going on? Because I know for me, I was working, I was teaching at the time, and then we were face to face, and then we had to go virtual. I think either like March or April, we had to go virtual, and we thought we were going to go back in the building, and we never went back into the building until like 2 years later or something. So how did that affect your life, Kamaria or Julian or whoever?
Well, I was teaching as well. And to be going from face to face to virtual, I worked in a low income area, or it was predominantly economically disadvantaged students. And so to go from being face to face to virtual, a lot of my students did not have the means or even the tools to be virtual and actually learn. And once they did get the tools, they ended the school year like 2 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely changed my perspective on life, to where it could be like this one day and then the next day it's something totally different. Whereas we were told to give them a packet for 2 weeks, and then by the end of the week it was, we're going to be virtual probably until spring break. So you all need to meet with your students at least an hour per day. And it's like, meet with our students. How are we supposed to do that? How are we supposed to get the parents and the students a link to even see us? How are the students going to get their computers? So it just literally went from being so set into a routine each day to having to literally figure it out minute by minute, hour by hour, as to how I was going to do my job and do my job effectively. Because at the time I was teaching fourth grade. So it literally went from being one thing to something else in a matter of hours. And it definitely shifted, because at first, I ain't gonna lie, because the school year had been kind of rough on me. It was my first year teaching, and I thought this 2 weeks as a little vacation. I was like, okay, 2 weeks, they'll get it figured out and we'll come back to work. But once the 2 weeks hit, and it was like, all right, we finna be here a little longer. Then
Right.
that's when I started to realize, how am I gonna do this? How are we going to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
teach these kids? So my perspective definitely shifted. And sometimes, when stuff happen, you have to be flexible. And me as a teacher,
Right.
we're expected to bend over backwards and then some
All the time is
already,
not fair.
all the time. So it was like I had to literally try to make I had to, make a way for a lot of my students who didn't have computers. So it's like I was literally spending my mornings and stuff on the phone talking to parents, and some of them, just breaking down on the phone with me, telling me about my child doesn't have a computer, we don't have internet, I don't want my child to fail this school year because of this. So it became something like totally different, like you said, overnight. It went from being, we're going to be out 2 weeks. Okay, now we're going to be out to spring break. Spring break came and went. Let's just end the school year. We're just going
Right.
to end the school year. That's it.
Period.
So,
And for
Right.
me, my job, I didn't stop working. I kept going to work every single day. So my world really didn't change. It was like I would get to work, and it got to a point where I remember when the first girl at my job, she caught it, and like
Mm-hmm.
everybody just panicked, like because it
That
actually
right.
hit, because like, oh, she tested positive and she not here. You don't know what. So eventually, bit by bit, people just started. So it got to a point where my job was like, okay, if you do not feel comfortable working, you don't have to come to work. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But you ain't gonna get paid. So,
Right.
but you don't have to. You don't feel comfortable working, to stay out as long as you can, whatever like that, till you feel comfortable working. So my world really didn't actually
Didn't
shift.
change too much.
Yeah, change too much. So, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I kept going to work. You know, just did best I could, best we could.
Okay. Marcus, what did you have going on in 2020, around spring 2020?
Man, I was in college when all this happened. So me and my friends, we had planned a trip to go to Myrtle Beach, but we already been hearing about the COVID situation. So we just thinking like, okay, it's nothing too serious.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing about to go on. So we had to Myrtle Beach. We all packed up to go to Myrtle Beach. So when it's time for us to come back to we would come back home, because at this time it's on spring break when we came back. It was already on spring break. So when we came back, we get 3 days later, all of us get an email saying, "Oh, school is school is out for the rest of the semester." And we were just like,
What?
Yeah, like what's going on?
"Yeah," because I think at that time, because we had heard Clemson had shut down, a bunch of schools was shut down because of COVID. So we like,
What school were you at?
I was at a school called Tacoma Falls up in North
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay.
I was
Mm.
up there, and when we came back, we were just like, "Did school just shut down?" We and all our stuff was virtual, so it was like it was for me. I can't do virtual. Virtual is not for me. I got to be face to face with you. If not, I ain't gonna pay attention. But
Agreed.
yeah, COVID, it was
Agreed.
messed up because not only that, sports was shut down. You couldn't basketball. You couldn't do nothing. Well, made it worse for me. You couldn't go outside and hoop. They took all the rims down. Like I was like,
Dang.
so they really just want us to be stuck in the house 24/7. I was like, bro, I can't do
For
this.
real. Everybody was stuck in the house, like down.
yeah.
Bro, I couldn't do it. I was like, and I'm just in the house, and then when you in the house, all you can really do just sit there and eat. So I was gaining weight.
Mhm.
So
Well,
it
you
Yeah.
got
seem like
bad.
you're a basketball fan. One positive, I'm a basketball fanatic too, that came out of the pandemic was they pushed up the Last Dance Jordan documentary. That was not supposed to be out. Yeah, and because of the pandemic, people were
That's the
home.
only reason.
They
Man,
pushed up that Last Dance documentary.
What y'all
And
talking about?
it's the MJ documentary. The
Oh, yeah.
Last Dance.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember they said they were putting that out early
Mhm.
because it was not supposed to be released, but because people were stuck in the house and the pandemic, they
Mhm.
put it
Some
out
people
early.
need us. And then basketball, it was no more NBA, so it was just like
Everything shut down.
we had nothing to do.
Yeah. And Marcus, you said something very interesting that you in college could not do virtual. So imagine a 9 or 10-year-old
Oh, I know
Right.
they was.
get on, like,
Right.
a lot of my students who did have computers and who did have internet access to be virtual, a lot of them were still in the bed when we would go live for
Oh,
class. A lot of them were still in the bed, and it's like, what is this? And
Yes.
so it just seems
Wouldn't
like
turn the cameras on.
wouldn't turn cameras on
That was
because
annoying.
I'm
Like,
asleep.
they were still in the bed, or they weren't even in front of the computer. And when I tell you, it really opened my eyes to a lot of stuff of what was going on behind what you
mhm.
think like it was behind closed doors. A lot of teachers got to see a glimpse of why many of their students were behaving the way that they were behaving inside the classroom, because of the lack of supervision. So me as an educator, I definitely got a glimpse into that's why you like that. That's why, because you
Right.
ain't got nobody at home right now supervising you or guiding you, in the
Mhm.
fact that you need to be up, sitting up with your hair combed, teeth brushed. You literally, I'm talking about children wrapped up in covers,
Right.
sleep on the
Right.
computer. It's
Mhm.
like, why are
Yeah.
we here? Why are we
Mhm.
here?
Exactly. It was very
Still
frustrating as
tired.
an educator. It was very frustrating.
Yeah.
I feel like during that time period for us, I feel like it exposed, like you said, a lot of things as far as education and how kids just are not the focus and the concentration is just not there. And like you said, the supervision, like parents, like you are a part of that triangle, the parent, the teacher, the student, like you are part of that, of that unit. You know what I'm saying? It really
Mhm.
makes a big difference when that part is lacking or is not there. And I feel like it also, from a teacher perspective, it was not fair that we were still observed when we were virtual. I had an AP to come in, and they wanted to see the students engaging. Like, what is that supposed to really look like when you're virtual? We're not used to this. This is something new. So I feel
Wait a
like
minute, they was still monitoring
I
y'all.
said we had very unfair metrics put upon us to say, oh, you're doing well as an educator, keep up the good work, or you have, things that you need to work on. Like, you're observing us in a virtual environment. And, most of the kids do not have, like you said, the cameras on and, in covers and pajamas and things. You can see them get up out the bed and go to the kitchen to fix some cereal and come back. And I feel like it was a very unfair time
They
for
did not
us.
care.
And that's just me venting real quick. Like, it is what it
Mhm.
is. That was not fair for
Yeah.
us to really be have that observation and them coming to a Zoom session and say, oh, well, your kids weren't engaged. What do you mean? They're at home. And some of them are taking care of siblings or got other
That
stuff going on in the
part.
background. That was
Yeah.
irritating for me. That was so irritating.
I
I
can't
mean,
tell you how many siblings, like little, like this 10-year-old is literally sitting here babysitting a 2-year-old. And it's like, I'm sitting here teaching my little heart, and I'm like, oh, Dad. I know what the,
now
oh,
who is that?
slow down. I'm watching her right now. Well, sit her next to you. I'm like, why am I here? Why are we? Because you're not concentrating. You sitting up here trying to show your classmates, your 2 year
Mhm.
old sister or cousin or whoever. So it
Mhm.
was, I'm with you. I'm with the girl. That right
Yeah.
there. But yeah, it definitely shifted my perspective in, like, who is watching our babies,
Right.
who is watching our babies, because they're out here raising and watching themselves for. And then I couldn't fault some
Real.
parents, because some parents were essential workers. They had to
Mhm.
go to work. It's like
Yep.
if they didn't go to work, they weren't in a position where they could get that unemployment and stuff like
Mhm.
that. They had to go to work. So a lot of
Mhm.
them were working. Some of my parents were working, 16, 18 hours a day, and then
Wow.
coming home, having to come home and be a parent.
Mhm.
and then the school is maybe asking them to do extra stuff. So like that right there, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to keep putting extra stuff on my parents to do because of some mandate that at the end of the day is not even going to matter, because nobody knows the current state and how we're going to
Mhm.
finish out the year until finally they just said we're going to end the year early.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I definitely, I tried to look at things from parents' perspective, from students' perspective,
Mhm.
just to make it through. Not only because, like I said, my work was with us, our work teachers, it was at home
Mhm.
with us.
Yep.
So it's like when we turned the computer off, it was, we still stuck in the house. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. I feel like thinking back, like reflecting on the whole thing. Do you all feel like the pandemic exposed like I guess some lies when it came to the workforce in general? Like a lot of jobs that would say we don't have work from home positions, or you cannot do said position working from home. I feel like that kind of caught some jobs in a lie, because here we are learning from home, like virtual learning all across the country. People were doing that. And
Mhm.
then I mean, like big companies like say Apple or Google or something like that, jobs that were saying you have to come in physically to work. We're now saying, okay, well now you can do this job from home. We're going to send you a computer and what other connections you need to do your job. So
They've been
I
lying the whole time.
I
Yeah.
think the pandemic exposed a lot of hypocrisy in our country, to say that you can't do this, you can't do that. But when you have an epidemic that spreads over the globe and you have to shift things, you have to change things and adjust, I feel like now it has caught you in a lie. Do y'all feel like the workforce kind of
Oh yeah,
was that way?
my job definitely told lies. Like we both caught COVID, and we were literally out. I was out for like 2 weeks. Both caught it. I was out for 2 weeks. So this was the protocol of my job. Okay, once you got to send them your test results,
Hmm.
and they need to see your test results. So I did all that. So when I got back to work, now my job said I was off for 2 weeks. I said, well, how does this work as far as me getting paid while I was out? Well, okay, well here's the thing. We're gonna pay you, but we're gonna take your vacation time
Dang.
and we're gonna pay you. I said, wait a minute. So you're gonna
That's
take my
just messed up.
PTO
Right.
and pay me for this is a pandemic. A word like you gonna pay me. Well, it's either that or you just we're not gonna we can't you just out. You just out.
Hmm. Keep in mind they got money. A lot of these companies got
That's what
money
that's what a
for
lot
the
come in at.
pandemic.
That's what a
Mhm.
lot come in at. So all these companies got money.
That's the
The
crazy part.
government gave them millions and millions of dollars. So we we're further, I think, going into 2021, they call a meeting. So this is how the government worked. You had a time frame to issue out that money
Hmm.
to
Mhm.
your employees. If you didn't issue it out, you were gonna hit to get a stiff penalty. That company's gonna get a stiff penalty. My company calls us into a meeting and say, listen, we know this has been a rough year. We had to work through a pandemic, and we're just so thankful for all y'all like just coming in grinding every day. So
They
for
switched
What?
up.
that, we want to gift you all with a $3,000 bonus.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
looking at y'all like, do we look stupid? Do y'all look stupid to y'all? Y'all was supposed to been gave us that money.
They
Right.
switched up.
Yeah, switch it up. But they
Hmm.
hadn't issued out any
That's
money.
wild.
So before they were hit, they were finna get hit with that penalty. They had to dish out that money to everybody.
That's crazy.
That's why also, Megan, if you remember, a lot of the school systems were issuing bonuses like back to back, because
Hmm.
school systems also got money for the pandemic. And like you said, the hypocrisy came in where you're saying that you can't do some of these jobs at home, but here it is, we're having to do it at home. I used to work for the government, and a lot of the stuff, I was a case manager for the child care assistant program. And a lot of the casework that we do, it could have been done at home, but to keep employees under control and to keep micromanaging people's lives and what they do, they make it seem like you have to come in the building so that they can watch you, in a sense, so that they
Oh,
can
wow.
watch you. And now that same job that they said you could not do from home, they made it a permanent work from home job. So
That's
the
what I'm
job
talking
that I
about.
used to, the job that I
Do
used
you?
to do, that they said could not be done at home, is literally
Right.
permanently. All of my friends that work for the state, they permanently like work from home. They
That's
still
what
don't
I'm
make,
talking about.
they
That's
still make
crazy.
money, but they work. They're working from home. And
Right.
it's like, remember when they said, this could not be done from home? I said that was just their way of keeping an eye on us and to control us and to micromanage everything. And
Yeah.
I said, during that time, it was really hard for anybody to micromanage anything at the very onset of the pandemic, because it was all still very new. Like you said, you were getting observed and whatnot. I didn't get observed until like that second when we came back to school and it was virtual. Like my principal or assistant principal, they didn't come into my little Zoom meeting until like that second semester when we were, virtual. And so it's like, because I realized it's like a lot of people, they couldn't micromanage what was going on at work because they had so much going on outside of work, like people getting sick, having to worry about
Yep.
yourself getting sick, having to worry about your kids getting sick, how you gonna get your groceries, how you gonna just live day to day. So a lot of these companies and a lot of those bosses that like to micromanage, they were taken down a peg or two, because when they can't put their eyes on you, it do something to them.
Yeah.
It really do something to them.
I remember because when I came back, I had to find a job because I think when I came back, I was off my refund check at that moment. I was just living off the refund check. So when I came back, I had to find a job. So when we found it was a little warehouse job, like right up the street from my house that I used to work at, and it was just it was rough because not only is you're still around a bunch of people, and you don't know who in there might have COVID. They could be just lying and say, "Oh, I don't got it,"
Yeah.
but they still want their money, so they gonna come into work. So now you're affecting everybody. Now everybody might get sick.
Yep.
So we
Yep.
was I was in there, mask on. You had to come in there. They had to take your temperature. It was bad. I was like, then in there it was hot, so it was like, well, I don't want.
I know that's what I deal with every day. I work in a warehouse, so I know what you're talking about.
It was
Yeah.
12 hours. I used to go there at night. I used to go in at 6:45 at night, then get off to 7:15 in the morning.
Dang.
Yeah,
That graveyard should be
I go in there.
crazy.
Yeah, I go in there.
I did that for 2 weeks at a factory warehouse. 2 weeks. I couldn't do.
I did
9
for
at
2
night till
years.
5 in the morning. Oh God, no, I couldn't do it.
Well, I've been working a warehouse job now for like 20-something, maybe 20-something years.
You were
For
great.
real?
I give it to
Something
you.
like that.
So you said 20-some years. So Julian, you got seniority or whatever the big word is, right?
I do, but that don't mean nothing. That's why I like. But what I said with me
What you
being,
mean?
You were
well,
strong.
but at a certain point of your life, like I think I started doing warehouse jobs when I was like when I was like 20. I was like maybe 21, 22. I'm 39 now, so I don't.
Hold on. You how old now? Tell them how old you are. You what now?
I'm 39.
Oh Lord have mercy. He old, y'all. I ain't nothing but 26. But go ahead on then. But go
Yeah,
ahead
so
on. Tell your story. Go ahead on.
39. So I started working warehouse jobs when I was like 21, 22. So I started when I was at West Palm Beach. I worked at Budweiser. I worked overnight till the morning. Then when I moved here, I continued to work overnight. This job now, I've been working. I go to work at 4 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So I do have
Hold on, you leave or you get off at 4 a.m.?
No, he goes to work. He leaves home at 3 a.m. and
Okay.
has to be to work at 4.
Mm.
That means he gets up about 2 a.m., 2:10, 2:15 at the latest, to get ready for work, and then he leaves home at 3, and he gets to work what, about 3:30,
Yeah.
3:45. Yep. And he's on the clock at 4, and it's from 4 a.m. until the work is done. So sometime that could be 12 o'clock. Look at Marcus. He's like, what? Sometimes that could mean 12 o'clock you get off on time, or sometimes that could mean like one day last week he didn't get off till like 6:30 p.m. And that was
Oh wow.
starting work at 4 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. It was like, yeah. So sometimes it's like until the work is done. Mondays are their worst day. Mondays are always going to be their worst day because they're closed over the weekend. So try to
My
fill in.
8 hours up. I gotta go.
A question for y'all.
Hmm?
How do y'all feel about the vaccine, that whole COVID vaccine? Because like
I never got it.
it made some people mad, and then some
Never
people was
got
like, you know what? I gotta get it. Our whole family gotta get it. Whatever. I feel like it put me at odds a little bit with my mom and my sister because I did it because I had to for my job. I felt like they were like just the pressure, like to just if you want to come back to work, and stuff in the building, like you have to do it. But I was on the fence about it. I didn't really. I felt like it was very weird. And like Marcus, you being a younger person, like how do you feel about conspiracy theories and things like that? A lot of people said that when the government is pushing something for every American to do, like that should be a red flag or something like that. So like, how do you feel about that whole vaccine thing? Like, did you get it? Were you forced to? Like, how do you feel about it?
So with me, my job when I worked, they said they advised us to get the vaccine, but knowing me, I don't know what's in that needle, so I was not getting it. They could have said you have to get it. I was about to get fired that day because I was not getting no vaccine. I'm sorry. I did not. I don't know what they done conjured up in the lab to make that to say, oh, now you don't got COVID. Really? Come on now.
It came out real fast. Like we
Yeah,
heard that
right.
we heard that COVID came out in January, and it's like by May we had a vaccine or so. And I'm kind of elaborating, but I feel like it came real quick. And stuff like that has to go through a vetting process. Like in the lab, they have to try it out. They have to do trials. They have to test it
We were
and do different things with research. And
we was the tryouts. We was the We was the hamsters.
when you say we, you talking about black? You talking about
The
brown people? Or you
people,
talking about
everybody. We was the hamsters for that vaccine. We was the hamsters. You talking about they had to try it out. We was the hamsters.
Yep,
We said we got to get some people, try this out, see what happens.
For us, me and Kamari, we got to go back because like, well, not go. What I'm saying is the pandemic, the COVID hit us real close to home because Kamaria lost her grandmother to COVID unexpectedly. Like she was literally here, and then she was gone.
Yeah, my family experienced like it was literally a series because in the Black family when one person now they said, well, death come in threes, and so you
I've heard that.
feed into that. You try not to feed into that, and you try not to believe those type of things. But the way that the pandemic hit my family, it hit really, really close to home. And like you said, like you. Atlanta Public Schools was also telling teachers that we had to get the vaccine in order to, be able to come back into the building with the kids and whatnot.
Me.
And so yeah, me and Julian, we got the zombie juice, but my family was hit. We got the zombie juice. My family was hit pretty hard from like I would say August, from like August all the way to December, or was it like September to? It was like September all the way to December my family was hit pretty hard with like deaths that came literally back to back. It was first
wow.
my auntie Christine. She passed away in October. And then her son, my cousin Wilbert, he passed away in November. And then not even a month after he passed away, my grandmother passed away in December. And it literally happened all of a sudden. Like, my grandmother had never been sick. She had never been sick. She has never been hospitalized other than the time that she was a live kidney donor. She donated her kidney to one of her church members way back when I was like in middle school or whatever. But she had never been sick, never been in the hospital. And then all of a sudden, during Thanksgiving is when she started to feel sick. Thanksgiving is when she started to feel sick. And so we was like, you may want to consider getting tested. You know, Granny, go get tested. She was like, no, I'm not going to get tested, because if I get tested and they want to know, they want to track who I've been around and they want to do all that other stuff. So she didn't go get tested. And soon after that, she kind of wasn't getting better. And I remember right after Thanksgiving, I had took my mom to get tested or whatever like that. And I remember going to my grandmother's house, and I saw her and she was like, well, I feel better. Because my grandmother, she was a woman that she never like sat in the bed and laid around all day ever, like in her pajamas. And so that day when I went over there, she was literally still in her pajamas, and she was sitting in her chair. She wasn't in the bed, but she was sitting in her chair. And she said, well, I feel a lot better. I was like, well, that's good. That's good. You up and moving around. And that was maybe on a Thursday, or was it might have been a Monday, but that next day they rushed her to the hospital because she had passed out. She passed out. And so they called the ambulance, and the ambulance came and got her. And once she got to the hospital, 2 weeks later, she was gone. 2 weeks later, she was gone on December 19th. And, that hit home, because it happened all of a sudden. She was here Thanksgiving, and then by December 19th, she was gone. And so for us, we was like, well, we have to protect ourselves because we don't know, because she did test positive. She did die from complications of COVID. The virus spread throughout her body, and she went into heart failure. So we was like, we don't know, like, if one of us might have like transferred it to her. Somebody may have had it and didn't know they had it. And so to just cut down everything, my whole family decided that we were going to get vaccinated, so that, I guess, it was our way of preventing that from happening again, in a sense. But really, it was, not only did the teachers have to have it, but we were trying to prevent it from, us spreading it amongst each other, because my family was hard-headed. I ain't gonna lie. We was hard-headed during the pandemic. We were still meeting up at my granny house every Sunday for dinner. Now, I didn't go every Sunday, but pretty much, like, we was all around each other. But at a point where we were looking for symptoms. It was still at the height where you had to have symptoms until it started becoming asymptomatic, where people were walking around with it and didn't have any symptoms.
It was just crazy to be, you're in a grocery store and you stand in line and somebody go, and then everybody just
turn around like, yeah, what?
Everybody.
Marcus, what you was gonna say?
Good. She said asymptomatic. So I caught it one time, and the crazy part, I had no symptoms, like none at all. Like I could taste, I could still smell, like, and it was just like when I caught it, I'm like, how? Like it was just literally out of nowhere. Like, how did I get this?
But when you have it, because we eventually it hit here. It for us, like for me and Kamari, it was like everything. Losing Granny, going into 2021, and I think one of the things, and Granny was like, she saw things. She was a preacher.
Oh yeah,
she saw the future. She was always claiming stuff. So for some reason, she would say, "You and Kamari, y'all house coming." She would say that she constantly, y'all coming. We had been trying to purchase our first home for the longest. And then like Granny months leading up before she got really sick, she started just giving us random things for some reason. We don't like. I remember one day Kamari came home. She said my granny gave us a water pitcher with the filter, nice Brita water filter. She gave us this. I said, oh, okay, that's nice. And then just granny giving stuff. Then she gave Kamaria a weighted blanket. She just started giving us random stuff. And
house stuff. She started
stuff
giving
you
us
put
house
out.
stuff.
And I'll never forget one day I went to work and Kamari had been off all day. She said, well, I'm gonna go with my mom and granny. I'm gonna go spend a day with them. I said, okay. So I got home from work and she was home. I said, how'd it go? You know, Granny was one of those, she liked to go to those liquidation stores and all the stuff like that. She loved going to those places. So I asked Kamari, I said, well, how'd it go? What'd y'all do? Oh, my granny bought this and she bought that and she bought a couple things. She bought us a bed. I said, whoa, what?
That's kind of big.
She bought us a bed. I said, Kamari, your granny bought us a bed. She said,
now.
she just wanted to. I didn't. I like Kamari. So she just up and just bought us a whole bed, like for no reason. Like, but here it is. She passed in December, and we get approved for our home in March.
Wow.
She saw
we bought a home in the midst of the pandemic when everything was like really, really bad. We were able to actually purchase a home. It's like we drove through this neighborhood right after my auntie Christine passed. So right after she passed, we came. We had hooked up with a realtor, get our credit straight and stuff like that. And then we rolled over in this neighborhood, and Julian was like, he said, this kind of feels like home. He said, I think, we should look into, what they got to offer over here. And that was in October? Auntie Christine passed in October. That was like October. And I think that next week I came back and I had them, do my little pre-qualification stuff. And they was like, girl, bye. So I was like, oh, we're not ready yet. So we eventually, once my granny passed, we not necessarily gave up on purchasing a home, but everything just stopped. So then we were still in the pandemic and all that stuff. So we ended up coming back, and they literally over here, they only had 3 houses left, only 3. And they supposedly had contracts on all 3 of those homes. Not necessarily contracts. They had people coming to look at those houses. And those people were possibly going to be putting down their earnest money. And so the guy that, the manager over here, at the time, he was like, well, if they can get their earnest money to me, I'll go ahead and take them. I'll take the house off the market. And we was like, we looked at each other like, what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do, what we're gonna do. So January 31st, we went ahead in good faith. We put down our earnest money. He took the house off the market in March. That second week in March or whatever, we closed on the house. So it was definitely something that went like really, really fast. It went really, really fast in a time where they were saying that nobody was going to be able to purchase a home. We were able to purchase a home. And then soon after we purchased it, like that summer is when all heck broke loose in the housing market. When all the prices started to just go up and up and up. I was like, wow, we got in right on time, because soon after we purchased this house, everything went up. Everything went up.
Again, to go back, it was like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it was like Granny, she saw it like before she left. She saw this happening for us. That's why the giving of the gifts and all that stuff, because, I guess she knew, maybe she just knew she wasn't going to be here. So she she blessed us before she left with things that we were going to need for the house.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. How did you all maintain your mental and emotional well-being during the lockdown and periods of isolation. So were y'all able to whether it be like, I don't know if the gym was still open at that
No,
time or
nope,
what?
nothing,
Oh, you weren't able
nothing,
to go.
nothing. You can't even
So
go
how did
outside.
you maintain your mental health during the lockdown, sir?
Playing the game. That's literally all you can do.
Mm.
Like it was literally nothing else you could do. Like we'll find some outdoor courts.
Mm-hmm.
We'll play like we'll be outside playing out basketball all day. Next you know, police running around. All right, all y'all got to go. Curfew.
Mm.
Then a couple weeks later, next thing you know, they snatching all the rims down. Now y'all giving us a reason to stay in the house because we can't do nothing now. So for me, it was messed up because me as a person that like to go play basketball, I like playing the game, but I don't like doing that all day. But so when they started doing that, it was like you just all you can do is eat, sleep, go
Mm-hmm.
to the restroom and play the game. So it's like my mental was all messed up during COVID. And then, like I said, working at the time, it was just like doing the same thing all over again. So it was messed up for me because I couldn't do
Oh,
nothing.
poor Marcus.
I couldn't do nothing. I
Oh.
wanted to play basketball.
So sad. I can't
Yeah.
say exactly what we were able to do because honestly, I think even in the midst of the pandemic and everything that was going on, a lot of people just kept going as if nothing was
Happened.
Yeah, that
wrong or
was
that if
bad too.
nothing happened.
Mhm.
It's like
Right.
you just you kept going. The government was giving out more money than people could count or had ever seen before. People were working at home. It's like the earth was finally quiet and somewhat
Yep.
calm for a split
Yes.
second.
Long.
And it seems like during that time, people just kept going as they were able to kind of stop and listen and as some people would say, like stop
Right.
and smell the flowers for the first time in their lives. Like a lot of people
Right.
who were workaholics and constantly working all the time,
Mm-hmm.
going back and forth to work and stuff like that, they were like sitting at home, enjoying their
Mm-hmm.
families, enjoying their
Yep.
children, enjoying life for the first time. Um, although
That
yes,
part.
we lost a tremendous amount of people as well as resources and things like
Mm-hmm.
that during that time. I just
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people kept going, and in the climate at the time, like I think people was tired of people. Honestly, a lot of people was tired of peopling and tired of doing certain stuff to the
Yeah.
point that the pandemic, like them being in the house,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was like, because I remember when Earth opened back up and everybody was back in the streets and everybody was back outside. They was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Shut us back down, Joe. Shut us back down, because I don't want to be out
Yeah.
here no more." So it's like, as far as mental health and maintaining during that time, I can't pinpoint specifically what I was doing, because honestly, I was enjoying the peace and quiet of having to stay in the house, having to at the time only teach an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the pandemic first happened, we were only we gave them a packet to take home, and then when they said we were going to be out longer, we were only teaching 1 hour per day. So my
Mm-hmm.
hour was 11 o'clock. We would teach 1 hour, and then the rest of my day was free to do stuff.
Like
And
office hours or something.
I was getting paid. I was getting paid for it.
Right.
So it was.
But I think I remember when it kind of like hit home, man, believe it or not, we went to Florida, went to West Palm to visit.
Mm-hmm.
It was in June of 2021, I think. And we got on a flight and we got on a
Yeah,
plane.
it was.
In the middle of a pandemic, y'all got on an airplane?
Yeah.
Y'all dangerous.
Oh Lord. Y'all was living life on the moon.
Listen, we had to. I guess that was our time where we was like, okay, we've been in the house long enough. Let's do something. And so that was also a time where with Delta, that middle seat was left open. So
Okay.
it was like every other seat. The flight
Oh yeah,
wasn't
the tickets were
like
cheap.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask, were the tickets cheaper back then? Because I don't remember.
Yeah,
Oh
the
wow.
tickets were because they were trying to at that time they were trying to encourage more people to travel to build back up that travel business and that travel revenue. So the middle seat was kind of not kind of, it was empty. It's like nobody sat there. So me personally, like I enjoyed that because like sitting, I'm always the middle seat person, and I don't like being like
Right.
this the whole time, like this the whole time, like this hurt. So yeah, we traveled. We went to Florida, and it was also like seeing a lot of people kind of like nonchalant, just walking around
And they
without
were,
masks.
I'm talking about, they were nonchalant now.
Yeah.
Like, even at the hotel we stayed on Singer Island. Yeah, we stayed at this hotel.
What you do?
Yeah, we stayed at this hotel on Singer Island. And like, I remember going down, we went down to the lobby, and it was people in the pool. You know, like,
Were they white, Julian? Were they white?
Well, we didn't want to offend,
Okay.
if you have
It's okay. It's
white
okay.
listeners,
Just let the people know. Were they white, Julian?
Yes,
yeah, they were.
it were our vanilla,
Caucasian,
Caucasus from the
So,
mountains.
Caucasians went a different term now. Oh, Lord.
So I'm looking
Different
like,
term now.
you know, I remember my mom, like, me and Kamar and my mom went to that Red Lobster on Palm Beach Lakes, and it was like a ghost town, like literally in there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It was people on the beach.
it was people on the beach.
I mean, it was just everybody. People were back
still in
outside.
denial though. Black, I mean everybody, not just white people. There were people that were still in denial about the whole thing. And until it got really, really, really bad, and like, every week the numbers were climbing, then people were like, okay, well, this might be real. Like, this might be something that we need to,
And listen, like,
take seriously.
when you actually catch it, because I said we caught it. We actually caught it 2 weeks, maybe a week after we moved in the house.
Oh wow.
I brought it home. And I remember coming home from work that Thursday, and I just was not.
Did you make him sleep in the garage until he was negative?
Well, see, here's the thing, because I was just going to piggyback off of what you were saying when people was in denial. People are in denial until it happens to them. And I believe like myself as well as my family. We were all in denial that it was that serious, and we all felt like it couldn't happen to us until it did. Until like some of us really did catch COVID. And me, I'm a type 2 diabetic. And it was also, they were saying like, if you have an underlying another condition, like another illness, it's worse for you. Those people end up hospitalized and all this stuff. So when he brought it home, I didn't know he had brought it home. He was just complaining of, man, I'm tired. He said, I think I want some soup and I need something warm. And so I'm like, well, it's some soup in there, but I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
I didn't think nothing of it because at the time we were back in the school building and the kids weren't there. Yes, they were. The kids were there, but we were face to face, but we couldn't have more than like 10 or 12 kids in one class because we had to socially distance them. And so I didn't think anything of it. So Friday rolled around and he's still kind of showing the same symptoms. By Saturday, he was kind of sniffly.
Saturday, I had the worst headache.
You had to work that Saturday too.
I had the worst headache of my life. I think I had went through a whole pack of BCs in one day because that's how bad my head was hurt. And I remember telling her, I said, look, I don't know what this, but again, we just moved in the house. I'm still working crazy hours. So I remember telling my mom, she was like, you're just tired. You've been doing the most for the past. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So I was working, and then at that time I was working 6 days. I was going to work on Sunday.
Saturday.
No, Saturday I was going to work.
That's how you had that headache, and they were asking, what's wrong with you?
Right. But so.
No, it was Sunday. I'm sorry.
I was working Sundays for a couple hours in the morning. Hey, Marcus, you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I get it. Look, hey,
Look,
I ain't knocking your game.
look,
6
this
days is
right
a
here
break.
is like this. She is like, I need. So yeah, but listen, just say. But anyway, yeah,
Tell her right now. When you get popped over there, you better tell her right.
I was working 6 days, and I remember I went to work that Sunday, and I was all right. I guess I said I, pretty good, but I still kind of felt iffy. So I came home from work, and I literally laid across the bed with my uniform on, and I went to sleep. I ain't like she went to her grandma's house. They was having dinner that Sunday. She came home and that Sunday night, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm back at it in the morning. And I had got up to get ready for work that Monday. She was sitting on the side of the bed with some Theraflu.
It was tea. It wasn't Theraflu.
But she was coughing. I said, Kamari, I remember leaving. I said, Kamari, you need to get that right before you go in that school because they ain't gonna let you in if you said how you. I said, you sick? No, I'm just taking this precaution. I said, all right, whatever. So I leave to go to work, and I'm kind of like at maybe 50, 75% all right, I guess. So I go to break. I go to my car. I get a text from her. She tested positive for COVID. So I know if she tested positive, I got it. So I didn't even go back in the building. I told my supervisor, I said, I got to go. My wife got COVID. So at this point, I'm worried about her. What is this going to do to her physically?
Right.
Of course, losing Granny, I know that in the back of my mind. So I called my mother-in-law, talked to her. She's worried. I get home. She went and got a test. I didn't get tested. I was so concerned about her. Now, mind you, the next day, I'm waking up and I'm starting coughing like bad. So I eventually went to get my test. And that was at the time where you can go, CVS was offering the rapid testing.
Oh, yeah.
And I did the rapid testing, and I remember the lady took my temperature, and she said, baby, do you realize you have 102 fever? I said, I do.
What?
She said, yes.
You had 115 temp.
No, I had 102.
My fault. I was about to say you did. My fault. I heard wrong. Sorry.
I had 102 fever. And she said, you need to go. I said, I know, but I need to come get the test. And, needless to say, but it was rough because, like, I had this horrible cough. So when it hits you, like you said, Marcus, you had no symptoms, but when you had them symptoms, they rough. They're very rough. Like Amari can tell you, like for an hour every morning for 2 weeks straight, I coughed for an hour nonstop.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it was
So glad
I had the cough. I had the cough too, but it literally you did experience shortness of breath. I had a fever too. It was the same story with me when I went to the rapid testing center because I got to the school that day. And for teachers, I don't know how it was in your district, but in our district at the time, they had us fill out this questionnaire every time you clock in. You had to say if you had any of these symptoms. So I couldn't lie because by the time I got to the front, I knew that because the nurse was there in the front, and you couldn't go in the school building until she checks you in. And so when she saw that I had marked yes on some of the questions, I think it was cough because I had started coughing and a sore throat. Those were my two symptoms that I had, and she checked my temperature and she turned it around to me and it was 100. She said, Miss Wright, she said, I need you to go get back in your car and we're gonna wait until the principal get here and she'll tell you what you need to do next. And so now that I think back on it, it's like, so if the principal say, oh, she fine, y'all gonna let me come in the building with 100 degree fever? Because that's fever, honey.
Right.
So she told me, yeah, let's take a sick day. When the principal finally got there, she came to my car and kind of just peeked around. She didn't come to my window. I'm like,
right.
I'm offended. But she sent me home and told me to get tested and let me know what my test results, by the close of business. And so I went to the rapid testing center. And child, this how in denial I was. I thought I just got me a little fresh cold, I'll be fine. I done went to the IHOP and picked me up some breakfast and all of that, not even knowing that I had the COVID. I had the COVID. And after I picked up my breakfast, from IHOP, that's when I went to the rapid testing center. Listen, I went and got tested, and that's when the lady took my temperature there, and it was still 100. And she was like, ma'am.
Wow.
She tested me 30 minutes later. The lady called me and was like, yeah, your test is positive. I said, positive? I said, do I need to go to the hospital or something? Like, what I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed? I didn't know what to do with that information. Like, positive. You telling me I got something that can kill me. That's how I was thinking. You telling me something that you saying I got something that could kill me. And so I was like kind of panicking, but I came on home, I ate my IHOP, and I immediately text him because they can't have their phones on the floor. So I text him. I didn't call him because he wasn't gonna answer anyway. But I texted him and told him I just tested positive for COVID. You're gonna have to leave work because if I got it, you gave it to me because you're the one who had the symptoms first. But yeah, that shortness of breath, like walking up and down our stairs, would take, like him walking up and down the stairs, literally he would be coughing for an hour to the point they had to give us, they had to prescribe us inhalers. So we had to use like inhalers for a while we had it.
Y'all had asthma for 2 weeks. I got it my whole life.
What about you, Megan? Did you get it all?
Huh?
I was asking Megan, did she get it? Did you get it at all?
No, I didn't. Fortunately, I tested a few times and it was negative, but no, I never did get it. Thankfully, or feel sick. Really, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
I've had it twice.
God was with me.
I've had it twice. I caught it that first time, and then I didn't catch it again until that following year. Because with APS, we were tested every Thursday. We were tested every Tuesday and Thursday. They had surveillance testing for everybody. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we had to go for COVID testing. The company would actually come to the school and test everybody in the school. And I had been showing symptoms, but I thought that it was probably like the flu. Here again, denial. Every time I've caught it, I've been in denial that I had it. So it's like,
you're not the only one. You're not alone. I'm sure a lot of people like.
So you said you got vaccinated, right?
I know I wasn't vaccinated then.
Okay, so
I wasn't vaccinated then.
Okay.
Nope. After this second time that I got it, because the second time I got it was much worse for me. It presented some brand new symptoms that I had never experienced. It was like vertigo. I don't know if you all have ever had vertigo, where you like get real dizzy, and it just seemed like the whole room. It feel like you're drunk. That's what it really feel like, but you're not. And it's like the room was spinning. It's like I was dizzy. I was nauseous all the time. I was coughing. I thought it was the flu. And I had been, going to work. I still had my mask and stuff on, but I had been going to work and whatnot. And because even in the midst of all that, the hypocrisy of your employer still talking about attendance when there's still a virus out there that's like still killing people. It's like, really? And so that's probably why I was in denial. Like, I don't have it because they wanted us teachers at work. They wanted us at work all the time. So I had literally been at work Monday, because I think the thing was I tested Tuesday, but I tested negative. But by Thursday, when I tested again, it was positive.
Oh wow!
So I said I think I was positive Tuesday, and that was just that test wasn't correct, because I don't think that girl stuck that thing up my nose far enough. But yeah, after that we did go get vaccinated. It's
the crazy part. I know people who had got vaccinated and still caught COVID.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what made it so weird. Like,
So you
It's
telling me
kind of like
that vaccination
we
didn't
had to
mean
rely on our own
nothing?
understanding. I don't know. In my opinion, I
It
feel
didn't mean
like
nothing.
And look, you had to get a booster. You had to get a booster within 6 months.
Is
I said 6 months. It's like some
that
boosters, it
right?
takes
I ain't
you
gonna keep sticking these dang needles in
years
me.
for you to go get a booster. But you want me to get this booster in 6 months?
yeah.
I
Yeah, I
decline
don't
because I
know.
don't
A
even
lot of
like
stuff is
needles
not
like
adding
that.
up. It just wasn't adding up some of the stuff. It really wasn't.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
wasn't. But
And now they charge you like $40. Like they
For a
charge you now.
test or
Yeah, no, for the vaccine.
oh.
It ain't free no more.
Oh,
You
I
gotta
never thought about it that they
yeah.
were like charging people. Okay.
Now
I
they
never
charge
thought about
you
that
for it.
since
Yeah, they
everything
charging
actually
people.
cost.
Yeah, if you want the vaccine, yeah, they charge like $40. You know,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Okay. Have y'all made any like life changes or anything since this whole COVID thing kicked off that you can think of, or you pretty much have gotten back to like your normal routine and things like that? Anything drastic? Not drastic, but anything that you can think of that's like you tried to change in your everyday life just to make you feel at ease?
I will say now I'm on my health journey now.
Me
And
too.
being a lot more
They call it a
healthy.
wellness journey. Yeah, I
Yeah,
am too.
I'm on
I
my
am
well.
too.
This is my wellness era.
Right.
So, but I've been on this. I've been kind of being consistent with working out and eating right since the beginning of this year. I joined this gym called Burn Boot Camp. It's right
Okay.
here. Well, they're all over.
You
The
go,
one I
girl.
joined, yeah, the one I joined is right here in McDonough, Georgia, and I go faithfully because like over the pandemic, I was eating because like when we had COVID, I know we spent like $200 in DoorDash that week.
Ooh, it was
So,
horrible. I thought it was just me.
No, not
Listen,
you.
this is when I was
I was
virtual
on
teaching.
the road.
I would turn my camera off. I said, "Hold on, kids, I have to go to the bathroom." But really, I went to the door because my Grubhub driver had arrived at the door.
that part.
I gained so much weight. I did so much. I thought it was just me. I'm so glad you said something. I don't feel
That sis ran
bad.
up a check on me.
It was horrible eating trash. Like I
I
know
remember,
Marcus was eating trash during the pandemic.
But
yo,
who you telling? Zaxby's, Checkers, and Red Lobster. Oh, they had some money on me.
I remember going over. I was looking at our accounts, and I was doing some. And I told him, I said, "Do you realize how much money we spent
I'm trying to
doing
tell
that
you,
during the pandemic?"
it was horrible.
And
Oh Lord.
thankfully, she got a friend that stays like literally around the corner. Stephanie bought us a couple of things, some groceries, whatever like that, to help her. I'm like, because between that and cough syrup, we was ordering cough syrup by the like every 2-3 days.
We were doing
Oh
Target orders.
Lord.
I was ordering stuff from Target.
Mhm.
I was ordering stuff from Target and, having it shipped right here to the door. But honey, that DoorDash, like a lot of people saying y'all need like some soup and stuff like that. Honey, we was ordering American Deli, okay? Ordering Philly and wing combos like nobody's business. I remember one time in one day we ordered American Deli twice. We had it for lunch, and then we turned around and had it for dinner. I said, "Hey, ain't no shame in our game. We can't
Right.
leave the house." And I
Right.
think at one point in time we had been together so much that week that
Yeah.
he left and just went driving around the corner and just went
Yeah.
driving.
That's what I meant to ask y'all. Like, did COVID kind of make stuff like different for like people who are in relationships and married and stuff like that? Marcus, how did you and your wife deal with the
Tell them, baby.
Yeah, I think he's solo, but I just thought I would
You want to talk to him?
Like, how did it affect your relationship, Marcus? Like,
Huh?
how did
What you
everything
mean?
go?
During COVID, what no relationship with me? It was trying to stay healthy. That's
I
it.
know, right? People was
I was
dropping like flies. Like,
I
it was
was
bad.
I was too mad about I couldn't go play basketball. That was what I was too mad about. I couldn't go outside and hoop or go to a gym and hoop. without them coming down to snatch a rim. Like,
That we were mad about. Yeah, we I mean, our
Right.
relationship didn't change too much because like life as we knew it kind of just kept the same rhythm and routine because he was considered an essential worker, so he was still having to go to work every day. So we weren't, one of those couples that were literally in the house all day every day with each other because he was still having to go to work. And then with me being at home virtual, I was still like in the teacher mode and teaching lessons and recording lessons and stuff.
Okay.
Did affect.
All right.
It
Well,
did
that's
affect.
good. That's good. I'm glad.
I was still working, couldn't go play basketball.
It did affect.
We keep talking about basketball. Is there anything else in life that gives you joy? I'm just asking for a friend.
No,
Wow.
no.
I mean,
Basketball is my happiness.
golf or
But you know what?
going to the bingo hall, like
the piggyback on that, like when they eventually
your
did
friend, yeah.
when they did bring basketball back, it was just like LeBron tells the story, like, when they brought basketball back, they locked them in Orlando. They locked all the NBA players in Orlando, and they played it on Orlando, but they couldn't go nowhere, whatever. Like they were literally locked down.
Oh yeah, yep.
LeBron tells the story that Zuri, their daughter, him and Savannah's daughter, she been asking to go to Disney World for like the past. He said, "We're not going to Disney World." He said, "I'm all Disney World out." He said, "I was locked down for months and could not go nowhere
At Disney.
At Disney. We ain't going to Disney World no time soon." But
I wouldn't blame him. I want to keep going. I'm in Orlando where Disney World is at. Do you think I want to keep? No, I'm tired of looking at that job.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
You and Layla's relationship got affected. Her and Layla's relationship, because they were trapped in the house all day together. So
yeah, I mean,
what kind of dog was it?
She was a lab mixed with pit.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, I was still at work. And I think there was this sort of resentment that started to build because I felt like I was solely responsible for her. Like in the morning time, she would wait until I was good and on the computer with my students, having to sit there with them to want to now I got to go outside. Now I got to use the bathroom and stuff like that. And it's like I'm in the middle of something, and if we didn't let her outside, she would make a mess inside that I would still eventually have to stop what I was doing and clean up. He didn't get the bulk of that. Why? Because he was at work. He had the luxury of getting up in the mornings, getting himself ready, and going to work. While I had to get up, take care of the dog, and then jump on this computer and take care of these kids. And in the midst of all of that, it's like I just felt like it was a responsibility I no longer wanted. And I started to have a little bit of resentment for having to take care of something that I no longer wanted to take care of, if that makes sense. So it's like, because at first it's like I would, take her out in the morning times before I would go to work. But because my work is now at home, that's throwing off her routine because she's thinking, oh, she's at home. I'll just get up when she gets up. But the thing was, when I got up, I was literally, I ain't gonna lie, if school started at 8 a.m., I was getting up at 7:45. I was getting up at 7:45, wash my face, brush my teeth, boom, I'm on the computer ready. Good morning. That's when she would be like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom now.
Time to turn up.
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom now.
Then after I gotta go to the bathroom, okay, I'm hungry now.
So now I got to feed and do.
But then again, I think Amari was thinking like, okay, just like you have routine. She used to being in this apartment. We were still in an apartment at the time. He was like, "What are y'all doing here? Because around this time, I got a place for myself. Like, you ain't supposed to be back until after 2. Then I'm chilling for a couple hours in here by myself. So, that to see her, like, we joke about it, but it was like to see her, like, this is a woman who adored animals at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And now to see her
That
just
point has
like
Yeah.
she did not want to fool with Layla, like not like that no more. She still
Yeah.
loved her, but keep your distance. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Get out my face. Get out my face. So yeah, I can see how, and that was just a relationship with a pet. So I can see how that could translate to, or how that would play out with two people who have been in the house with each other all,
Mm-hmm.
like the pandemic saved some marriages and the pandemic tore apart some marriages, because I know well, I won't say several, I do know people that ended up divorcing people that they have been with for 20, 30 years. Divorce, no more, during the pandemic. Because
Wow.
like it's one thing to like be in the house with someone and then you're able to leave the house,
Mm-hmm.
for work and things like that and experience life outside the house. But when you
Right.
just at home with that person all day, you start to see another side of that person, or you start to really you have a moment to open your eyes and be like, wow, I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
you lazy. Or, wow, I didn't realize you're very selfish. You're very self-centered. You're very, so I think a lot of people, it saved marriages because some people were able to like really stop for a moment and be like, you know what? You are my partner. You are my person. And then other people was like, you is not my person. You ain't it.
And
Even
that's
even after 20 something years, you ain't it. So I need to remove myself from this. So yeah, I know people who got divorced during the pandemic because they were just like flabbergasted at the person that they had chose to be with for a lifetime, and they
right.
just now able to see like you real jacked up. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it, but now that I'm in this house with you, locked in every
Mm-hmm.
day, all day, we can't go nowhere. We don't have date night to fall back on. We can't go
Right.
to the movies. We can't go to down to the Chili's or nothing like that. I can't go play basketball with my homeboys. I'm stuck in
Right.
no. I can't do this another 20 years. Yeah, we need to part
Mm-hmm.
ways. So yeah, I know,
Mm-hmm.
I trust me, I know some folks that their eyes were open during the pandemic to who their partner was. But luckily for us,
It's so sad. But y'all made it. I'm so happy for y'all. Y'all going strong. Y'all so cute, for real, for real. Y'all so cute. Like the way she look at you when you telling the story, and she trying to make sure you get the details right and stuff
listen,
like that. Like
because
that's so
sometimes men they can twist stuff, and it's their version of it. It's like it's not the right one, but okay.
mm-hmm.
You can tell your experience. You can tell your experience.
Yeah. Wow. This was so interesting. So, I guess to close out, like my question would be, do you feel like if this were to ever happen again, like another pandemic situation where we all have to go back in the house? I know a long, long time ago we had something called Spanish flu and some other things. They said we have
Uh,
had things like this to happen in the past, but if this were to happen again, to close out, do you all feel like you all would be prepared? Did you learn from the experience to say, well, these are some things that I need to take more seriously or do differently? What would you all say if this were to happen again? God
Um,
forbid.
God forbid if this were to happen again, I think that the world is a little more prepared with all of the advances that came about during the pandemic, because a lot of people discovered businesses during that time. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people were able to discover like some hidden needs and create something from that. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that me and Julian per se, I think we would be more prepared
Mm-hmm.
for it, because
Cause we got the toilet paper thing on lock. It's not gonna happen to us. That's
You
not
got
gonna
the
happen.
what on lock?
We got the
toilet
toilet
paper.
paper thing on lock. That's not gonna happen with us.
Look, hold on, because that was a big thing during the pandemic.
Yeah, it
Toilet
was.
paper
Like
and
people
paper
was
towels
grabbing it.
was just
Yes.
running through everybody.
Like,
Like, what we doing? Like, we really fighting over toilet paper? Like, what we doing? We are an industrialized country. Why we sitting over here
I
trying
remember
to
that.
beat somebody to get some toilet?
I remember that being a top story on the news, the local news, like stores, the shortage of toilet paper.
shoot.
They limited.
Americans were not in their right mind in 2020. I'm trying to tell you.
They only you go to the store. They literally had. I remember one place they had a cop on the toilet paper aisle, just standing there to
That's
monitor.
hilarious. That's so sad.
Yeah,
That's so
very
sad. As Americans, that says a lot. Like, we
Yeah.
are just not. We are not the civilized human beings that we think we are. Like, some of us were raised right and
Mhm.
things like that. But when you have a situation that is not something that you're used to, especially that affects millions of people,
Yeah.
it really shows you how people can change
Mhm.
and how people I mean, they say survival of the fittest, I guess, because people were literally just thinking about themselves or their family and stuff like that. So you got kids and or whatever spouse, and y'all need things for your household versus my household. Like, everybody, I guess, was just thinking like a me, I type situation
Mhm.
when things like that happen. So
Yeah.
that's the downside to when something happens like that.
Yeah.
A
I
pandemic or
think
whatever.
would we survive is the question. I don't think we could go through something else
No.
like that. Would we be a little more prepared? Yes. Would we survive? I don't think so, because there are just so many people who they're evil, they're crazy, and I just think like, and then from the education perspective, our children would not survive another pandemic, because not only the gap is already, from
Huge.
here to Australia, okay? From here to
Yes,
Australia, that's how big the gap is.
that
And
part.
you talking about the gap would become galaxies apart.
Right.
To yes, we have the technology in place, but we just don't. Kids, the pandemic taught all of us that kids need to be in a classroom with a teacher, someone who is certified to teach them certain things, because obviously these kids were at home for 2 years, and some of these same parents that be complaining,
Yep.
your baby can't read. So what did
Say
you
it.
do with them
Lord,
Say
2
it.
preach
years?
on it.
What did you do with them for 2 years while they
Please
was
say
at
it.
home? So it's like, if that don't, like, some people like really try to devalue teachers and devalue what we do
It starts
Right.
as
at home.
teachers.
Starts at
But
home.
at the same time, if the pandemic didn't show y'all how valuable teachers are,
Right.
I don't know what else will. So I think that, Lord forbid, if something like this were to happen again, I do not think the United States would survive through it. Will we be more prepared? Probably. But like, survival of it is like, I don't see us being able to go through that again, because I guarantee
We
you,
not
with
make it.
inflation now, ain't no stimmy checks coming out. They ain't got no money to give no stimmy checks. So, and then all of that, I think a lot of people ruined it. All of that money that people was
They
taking
did.
from the
They
PPP
did.
loans.
Those PPP loans and stuff like that, they did.
Yeah, it's
They
like,
did. But the feds are coming for them. Like, they might not have got caught yet,
And
but
they
it's
don't
coming around.
understand, Megan. They do not. You don't understand.
Like, black folks.
People's logic they don't grasp. Like,
Right.
well, that's government. You really think you finna get scot free?
Tell these
They
folks.
Government
may
money.
not
Please
come
tell these
now.
folks. Please tell these folks.
They coming.
They is. They
So
absolutely are.
don't think that you're gonna get away scot free. You know what I'm saying? And like I told some of the guys I work with, I said, look, if you did it, fine. I just hope that whatever you did with it is beneficial and you able to do something positive with it instead of just the J's, the traveling. And look, I know people who ain't never been across the street, took trips to
Right.
places they ain't never been before. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
they had never been anywhere because if you look at during the pandemic, the amount of video fights that were in airports all over the country,
Yep.
it was crazy to see all these fights. I mean, one lady, she cussed the ticket lady out at the counter because she asked her for an ID. Can I see your ID? What you need to see my ID for? My name right now. She need to see ID so she can verify that's your name on the ticket.
Right.
So I'm with Kamar. I don't think we could survive another
pandemic.
pandemic.
No, no,
Yeah.
not at all. Not at all.
I might have to
We like individually, like we'll be prepared, but especially like people with like little kids, like 2 to like 5-year-olds, them little kids. Cause now I work like in a daycare with little kids now. So seeing some of these kids like count your numbers. They'll look at you like this. What's after 1? 3. What the fuck?
Baby, I got fourth graders who are still trying to identify
the older
letter
ones just
sounds.
bad.
They're still trying to identify letter sounds.
Oh, no, that's bad.
Yeah. This literacy crisis is like really bigger than people understand. Like it really is not a joke. I'm so sorry. I was trying not to do the music. But I wanted to this quote that I found. Marcus, your friend, he posted this quote by Kobe Bryant on Facebook, and I wanted to use this quote to close us out. So the quote says from Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. It says the biggest mistake that we make in life is thinking that we have time. Would y'all agree with that? The biggest mistake we make in life is thinking that we have time, and especially because I lost my mother this year, a couple of months ago. I really see things a lot differently now, a lot clearer, and things are definitely more meaningful to me. I feel like I need to do, not that I haven't been trying to live right, anyway, but like once again, thinking that we have time to do things.
Yeah.
One minute you have a loved one, and then the next minute you do not have that loved one. So especially the older we get, like, Julian, you and I, we're pushing 40 and stuff like that. So we got to eat right. We got to live right. And we just got to, just make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are going to end up there. Because we think we have all this time down here, and people have their houses and their cars. And Marcus, you might have friends that have, nice positions and things like that, especially with y'all being young and younger or whatever. And things are really important to people who are younger. But when you get to be our age, millennials, like you start to see that if you don't have your health, like that's a big thing. If you don't have your health, a lot of that
your
stuff
health,
matter.
your mental,
like it
your
really
health, your mental well-being,
yeah,
your surroundings, by the people that really care about you, that really love you, those become more important to you than these new J's come out next week. I gotta, you know what I'm saying, or trying to, the materialist things really don't matter to as much as you did when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The pandemic taught a lot of people that too, because you sat up there and you bought all these shoes. Where you gonna wear them to? Where you going?
Exactly.
Where you going?
So Megan is right. As long the older you do get, and like I'm definitely seeing it. Like we just came back from Florida not too long ago, and it was just like an eye opening. I love West Palm Beach, Megan. I do. It's home.
Me too.
I just don't feel it don't feel homey to me anymore.
I know it doesn't.
I feel so out of place.
I feel so foreign when I go back home.
I'm so out of place there.
My house is still there that I grew up in. I was there for 18 years, but it's not the same anymore. Yeah. It's not.
So as you get older, you just look at things, and like I said, when I went home, I saw some things, and It's just like I'm so not in this place in my life anymore to be dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
my space, like me and Kamari talk about our space and our world that she so much has created here for us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like to go too far from it. This is my safe space, you know what I'm saying? My friends, my partners I hang with. My circle is very small,
Small.
Facts.
and
Yep.
but I like it that way.
Facts.
I like it
Yeah.
that way.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too. Me
yeah.
too.
So
You got one more time to start that music early.
No, it's not like. Listen, it's not like any music or anything. It's the quote I was trying to, because it's on his story. Kevin, he posted it on his story, so I was
and
looking at the quote again and
Kobe
thinking about
is
what
my
he did.
favorite player to
Shut up,
point that out.
Marcus.
Peter Van Kobe, man.
Kobe is my favorite
I
player.
know, right?
I'm a Laker
Rest in
fan. I'm a
peace.
Laker fan
Yeah.
from diehard Laker fan.
Well, I would like to thank you all for being on my show today. Julian, Kamaria, and Marcus. Thank y'all so much for your input on today's topic. We at the Smart Girl Podcast, we encourage you all out there to join the conversation. How do you feel that the pandemic has affected you and your loved ones and the people that you know? So feel free to drop a comment on this video. If you enjoy what we do here at the Smart Girl Podcast, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Tell all of your friends to tell their friends that there is a network out here for millennials to chat about all the things. Let's keep it going. May your brilliance continue to enlighten the road ahead. Dare to be different in a world full of copies. Stay sharp, stay smart.